The researchers:
Cristel Ann Dadwa, Janine Rose Villena, Princess Martinez, Mariel Christine Cuntapay, presenting from SE3BE.
Good day everyone, as well as to our respective panelists. Today, final defense, we want to discuss our study, the common fundamental errors involving morphophonemics of the selected English major of Cavite State University, Cavite City Campus. To maximize this presentation, we only include most essential highlight part of our study, which is the research background, methodology, result and discussion, summary, conclusion, and recommendations. Morphophonemics is the central topic for consideration in linguistics. It is defined as one of the branches of linguistics that deals with the relation that can be developed between morphology and phonology. Phoneme is a sound unit with its functions and peculiarities. However, morpheme is the smallest grammatical unit in the language. This is what you need to remember in morphophonemics. A morphophonemic, its focus is the sound changes that take place in the morphemes when they combine to form a word. For example, the word electric. The letter C at the end sound as hard K. Okay, listen to it. Electric. Electric. Then, when you combine another morpheme to the word electric, ITY, the word became electricity. Now, the letter C in the electric sounds a soft S. Okay, listen to it one more time. Electricity. Therefore, when a morpheme that has meaning combined with the bound morpheme, its changes take place in terms of spelling, meaning, and pronunciation.
Researchers found out that language plays a vital role. It has advantages and disadvantages. But the focal point of a language is to connect with people to understand each other's perceptions. However, this could also lead to misconception of a language. Researchers came out that language fossilization are the main reasons for involvement in committing morphophonemic errors.
Our proposed title is The Common Fundamental Errors Involving Morphophonemic of the Selected English Major of Cavite State University, Cavite City Campus. Statement of the problem. First, what is the demographic profile of respondents in terms of age, sex, year, and section? Second, what are the reasons for language fossilization? Third and last, what are the common errors of students involving morphophonemic? Objectives of the study. First, identify the demographic profile of respondents in terms of age, sex, year, and section. Second, determine the causes of language fossilization. Third, find out the common errors of students involving morphophonemic.
Methodology discusses the design used in the study. Research design is mixed method approach. Source of data is primary and secondary data. Participants of the study is the selected English major of Cavite State University, Cavite City Campus. Sampling technique is random sampling technique, and research instrument is survey questionnaires. Data gathering procedure, the items in the questionnaire were considered, the statement of the problem and copy of the questionnaire were submitted to the advisor for suggestions and recommendations. This was undertaken in order to strengthen the reliability and relevance of the content. The following statistical tests were applied to answer the specific problem and hypothesis of the study. Frequency and percentage count were used to determine the part 1 to 3 of survey questionnaires valid by statisticians. Percentage, F equals to frequency and N equals to sample population. Frequency and percentage count were used to determine the part 1 of survey questionnaires. This was used in the study to describe the demographic profile of the English major students, whereas the frequency count together with percentage were applied to determine the distribution of the participants in terms of age, sex, and year and section. Frequency and percentage count were also used to analyze part 2 of the survey questionnaires. The percentage is an indicator for determining which items in a group are most favored and least favored by the participants. This was used in the study to describe the most reasons of language fossilization. Frequency and percentage count were used again to evaluate part 3 of the survey questionnaires. The percentage is a scale to determine which items in the test 1 and words in the test 2 of participant responses are the most common fundamental errors involving morphophonemic.
Evaluation for morphophonemic errors. Error number 1, deletion. Deletion is linguistic process by which a sound present in its underlying phonetic form is removed from the phonetic form in certain environments. Its example is mocking, mock. Error number 2, addition. Addition error is error that can be identified by the presence of an item which must not appear in a sentence or utterance. Misformation errors is the wrong form of the structure. Its example is strained, strained. Error number 3, substitution. Substitution error is the automatic replacement of one item in a sentence, strategy, word, or phoneme when the specific information is forgotten or unknown. Its example is sailed, sailing. Error number 4, misspelling. It is to spell a word incorrectly. Its example is pension, patient. Results and discussion. This chapter presents the analysis and interpretation of data gathered by the researchers in order to answer the research question written in Chapter 1. Indicates that the participants are mostly 23 years old and above. Table 2 shows the distribution of sex among the English major, in which the majority of them are female with a frequency of 24. Table 3 shows the distribution of participants in terms of year and section. Most of the students are third year. Section BSE A3BE had a frequency of 13, equivalent to 43.33%.
Table 4 shows the reasons for language fossilizations of the selected English major. The results shows that the top 3 reasons of language fossilizations are the lack of corrective feedback from teachers and native speakers, lack of awareness from wrong articulation, and absence of formal instructions.
Table 5 shows morphophonemic errors in reading. The result indicates that the selected English major commits morphophonemic errors in terms of substitution that had a frequency of 28 equivalent to 93.33%. On table number 6, it shows morphophonemic errors in sentence constructions. The result conveyed that the selected English major commits morphophonemic errors in sentence construction are mainly in terms of substitutions. Substitution had a frequency of 9 equivalent to 30%. Now let's proceed to our summary. The study entitled The Common Fundamental Errors Involving Morphophonemics of the Selected English Major of Cavite State University, Cavite City Campus. It was conducted from March to June 2022 to determine the common fundamental errors involving morphophonemic of the selected English major. Specifically, this study aimed to determine the following variables. First is the demographic profile of the participant in terms of age, sex, year, and section. Second is reason of language fossilization. And lastly, determine the fundamental errors involving morphophonemic. The participants of the study were 30 selected English major of Cavite State University, Cavite City Campus. The researcher used mixed method research design to determine reason of language fossilization, which is cause occurrences of the common fundamental errors of the selected English major involving morphophonemic. Furthermore, the researcher used a valid questionnaire in gathering data. In addition, researcher employed statistical treatment wherein frequency and percentage used to determine the demographic profile, reason of language fossilization, and morphophonemic errors in terms of reading and sentence construction.
After thorough analysis of gathered data, results revealed that most participants are 21 years old with a frequency of 9 equivalent to 30%. While there was one with age of 24 years equivalent to 3.33%. Moreover, 24 are female equivalent to 80% and 6 are male equivalent to 20%. Consequently, most of the participants are third-year students from section BSE 3BE with a frequency of 13 equivalent to 43.33%. While participants from BSE 1BE had a frequency of 8 equivalent to 26.67%. Also, BSE 2AE, BSE 2BE, BSE 3AE, and BSE 4BE had a frequencies of 2 equivalent to 6.67%. Lastly, from section BSE 4AE had the frequencies of 1 equivalent to 3.33%. With regards of language fossilization, the results convey the top 3 reasons are lack of corrective feedback from teachers and native speakers had a frequency of 16 equivalent to 53.33. Lack of awareness from wrong articulation had a frequency of 15 equivalent to 50%, and absence of formal instructions had a frequency of 14 equivalent to 46.67%.
In terms of morphophonetic errors, there are 2 categories: the reading and sentence construction. In reading, the result revealed the substitution had a higher frequency of 28 equivalent to 93.33% over 100% of the 30 participants, while 30% of the participants also performed substitution errors in sentence construction.
For our conclusion, the researcher determined language fossilization occurred due to lack of corrective feedback from teachers and native speakers. This commonly happens when professionals prevent offensive manners to correct errors of a person when it comes to a vernacular conversation. As a form of respect, the mindset of an individual was already innate, wherein as long as a person can understand an interlocutor's message, automatically sentence structure is acceptable. Additionally, most people believe that language development fosters even without giving corrective feedback through the committed errors just to encourage a person to speak the language naturally. However, people do not analyze the negative effect of their beliefs that may cause common fundamental errors involving morphophonemic.
However, the lack of awareness from wrong articulation is also a reason for language fossilization. Wrong articulation refers to incorrect pronunciation or usually happens by substituting one sound to another. Example given, archive to archive. So consequently, if a person continuously uses the wrong articulation, the chance of inheriting errors could be passed to one another. People are more liable to commit errors involving morphophonemic which affect the grasp.
Furthermore, absence of formal instruction based on this study is the top 3 reasons for language fossilization. One of the possible causes of absence of formal instruction could be a person was not privileged to have education. Advantage of formal instruction can support personal development as well as improve an individual's professional skills, whereby the probability of a person to commit errors involving morphophonemic will come to light.
Therefore, in terms of morphophonemic errors, the substitution is prominent in reading and sentence construction. The reason for language fossilization have a huge impact in affecting grammar structure because changes takes place in meaning, pronunciation, and spelling. Recommendation. In the light of findings and conclusion drawn, the researchers hereby put forward the following recommendations. First, students. Researchers recommend them to become active listeners, especially in developing vocabulary skills to enhance knowledge in using language.
For English teachers, researchers recommend them to be attentive in giving corrective feedback to the students and be strategic to improve language learning and prevent morphophonemic errors.
Curriculum developer. Researchers recommend them to include morphophonemic and linguistic subjects, which it gives impact to improve linguistic knowledge of the teachers and students.
Last but not the least, we also recommend this for the future researcher. This study may serve as a basis for future researchers who want to conduct a similar study with the same research objectives. Furthermore, this study could be expanded by having a large scale of population of the participants. In addition, researchers recommend future researchers to look for more reliable sources in the website since sources are limited. Lastly, researchers also recommend further other aspects in understanding morphophonemics.
And now, here's our finale.